done anymore.
All right. Yeah, so if you can't tell, I recently got a job, and Connor just left his job.
Yeah, I just lost mine. I'm a little bit disheveled.
You didn't lose it. You lost it, or you left it.
It sounds better if I say I lost it.
So yeah, go ahead and drop a like down for how many days Connor should be unemployed. We're doing the Connor Unemployment Challenge. New travel series.
I don't know if I like this challenge.
Anyways, we're back, guys. Welcome back to the program. We are the Hit Players, the Three Amigos, whatever you call us. And today, we're just kind of doing just like an old school vibe kind of podcast. We haven't done one of those in a while. For those who are new to the program, welcome. Pull up a chair, sit down. This is basically the FDR Fire Talk, fireside chats of the 2020s.
Heyo.
Extremely timely reference.
Yeah, you like that?
Interesting take there, buddy. How many people have just paused the episode to go Google the FDR Fireside Chat?
Everybody but James's dad. James's dad is like, thank you, finally somebody understands.
He's like, oh my gosh, finally.
But yeah, we're here because we just have some things we want to talk about. Things that are happening recently.
Yeah.
Whether a current topic or not. Related to the film and TV industry, so we're not talking about other things. But yeah, who wants to... James, you had a addendum on a topic that we always talk about, it seems like, at least once a month.
We talk about streaming services pretty often.
Yeah, for good reason.
But I think that there's an element of them that we haven't talked about at all.
Let's do it.
How expensive is too expensive for a streaming service?
You know what? That's a good question, because Sarah recently said, hey, you should buy HBO Max. And I said, are you going to pay $17.99? And she said, okay, never mind.
Yeah. So I learned recently, this is what got me thinking about this. Costco reported, I think, $9 billion in revenue last
a lot of money.
year. And I think in terms of merchandise sales, it was only around $200 million.
Yeah.
The rest of that was membership. The fee that you pay to walk in the door.
Yeah.
So that is the business model of streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been watching a lot of commercials for streaming services recently.
Yeah.
We've been watching a lot of commercials on streaming services recently.
Yeah.
Commercials for streaming services on streaming services.
Streaming service.
And I think it's pretty safe to say that they're not putting their best foot forward with those commercials. A lot of those shows, just like HBO, for example.
Let's go there, because that's the most recent one.
Looking at some of the HBO Max specific series, pales in comparison to what HBO is known for, which is being better than television, because it's not television, it's HBO.
Yep.
But is the quality of these series justifying the price, along with the catalog of everything that you're getting? And then look at something like Hulu with, having one or two good series compared to everything else on it. Not including the, original series that they have. How expensive is too expensive for a streaming service? And at what point can you justify paying that just to see one or two TV shows or movies?
And I think we're going to see the price increases because a lot of these parent companies are investing a lot more into live sports, which I know for you guys is basically another language.
Well,
okay, all right, hold up now.
Insert obscure NBA reference.
I could learn another language easier than I can learn sports.
Oh, God. Anyways. But yeah, I mean, recently the NBA just signed a deal with NBC to be like one of the three major carriers or broadcasters of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, they're probably going to have a couple of games on NBC. Will we see a $2 increase a month because of that? I would imagine so. I mean, the CW in a span of 18 months completely went from scripted television to nothing but sports.
Yeah.
They do the live. They do, I think they do some motorsports. They signed to like deals with college football conferences and stuff like that. So it's like, there has to be a breaking point where it's, I'm paying for 5 services and yet I'm still paying more than I would for cable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Do you think that they're going to try to alienate us from buying into
Each
other
other's?
streaming services?
I think they already kind of are. 'Cause, I mean, they're always just hiking prices up, and I mean, like they're either running off the idea that you're gonna see that email saying, "Hey, our prices are going up," and be like, "Whatever,"
Yeah.
and ignore it, or, well, I really can't drop Netflix, but I can't make $20 a month. I guess I'm gonna have to kick Hulu to the curb, kind of thing, and go back
Yeah.
to paying this because they're just so much more expensive. I think they're already trying to like muscle each other out of the business, or just they're all in cahoots and being like, let's just keep raising prices. People are gonna watch us, buy our crap anyway.
Because I think, even with the like Disney obviously bundling with Disney, Hulu, ESPN, Nat Geo,
Mhm.
those are all owned by the mouse. So it's not like, FX, or I guess in that case Hulu and like HBO being like, hey, here's our 2 apps for $20. Like, sign up. They're all under the same umbrella. So it's like a weird, like, people are saying, oh, it's just going back to cable with this, but it's like, it's not really.
It's not
though.
really cable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
The prices are going back to cable, but
prices are
not
going back to cable.
the actual.
Not the
product.
product
Yeah,
itself.
yeah.
It's worse than cable. If
Yeah.
anything.
It's cable, but worse.
Yeah.
Basically.
down-
I mean, unironically,
package.
yes,
It is,
because
yeah.
like we go. I know what time stuff is when it's on cable,
Mhm.
but when it comes to the apps, I mean, they'll put on like cricket at like 4 a.m, and then 5 a.m. is the Indy 500, and you're
Yeah.
like, "What? I didn't know that."
Yeah.
Like, where is the information that I needed to know that?
Yeah. Can I get a TV guide? Like
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
old school?
yeah.
Put that in the magazine.
Or like when we were talking about, how like movie franchises are all on different platforms.
and it's like now I gotta go Google where can I watch my damn movie.
It's like if I
Yeah.
go on cable and I see Harry Potter on ABC, it's like I know all 7 Harry Potter or 8 Harry Potters are gonna play within the next 15 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At once. So it's like, all right, all right, I like the first one. I'll come back at 9:30 to watch the last one.
Yeah.
We had that problem in Chinatown where I was looking at where we could stream it, and then Isaac goes, "It's on HBO," and Google didn't even tell me that.
And it's exactly. They're not even always up to date, and it's like, or like sometimes you don't know stuff's being dropped off because
Yeah.
like I was gonna go rewatch a show on Netflix the other day, and I checked last week and it was there, and I was like,
Gone.
ooh, I'm gonna go watch that next time I like come back. Pulled it up like 2 days ago, wasn't there. I was like, what? There wasn't even like a leaving soon marker. It just
Yeah.
disappeared. Like it's just like, at least with the cable guide, you have an idea what's happening. And then you get the fun scroll where you're like, I don't know what to watch today. And like you put it up on the thing and it's got the little scroll and you're just like, yeah.
Put on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. You're like, you're at a hotel room and it's
For the
like,
15th time this week.
it's like 10:30 and you're like, I don't want to go out. I'm kind of like, just want to watch something.
I
Just put
have
on the
too much
scroll.
agency now with streaming apps where I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I don't want to pick something to watch. Just recommend me something to
Yeah.
watch. There needs to be, like, if we're going to go to cable, just on these streaming services, just do like, hey, now playing. And it's just, I just click it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm watching.
That would be a nice option.
I
though.
would love
I'd
for
be
that to
willing
be
to
a
like
thing.
fit into the fact that everything's more expensive. Is give me like a little bit of
Especially because everything is so
Simple.
niche nowadays.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to like Netflix. I think Hulu is still doing it the best mainly because they have FX shows, and FX I think is the second best in terms of like the actual content being good. I think FX is number 2 to HBO right now, at least in the last like 5-6 years. But Netflix is just like, oh, here, watch this about this, and oh, by the way, they don't have something's wrong with this, and they're weird because of this, and it's like, I don't want to watch that. Like, give me something I want to watch, Netflix. I don't know. It's just becoming frustrating watching. I mean, I canceled all of mine. The only one I have right now is Netflix because it was $7, and then I have Hulu included with my Spotify because I got grandfathered into the student deal.
Right.
Back in
Same.
ASU days, and I'm
I
like,
have-
it's too good of a deal to pass up.
Hulu and Amazon Prime are the only two that I
Yeah.
have.
I don't even
That
use
I
Amazon.
personally
I
pay
was
for.
just like, I don't ever use Amazon because a lot of the movies I like on Amazon, I'd have to rent anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, don't even get me started on Prime Video.
So it's
Oh.
like, people are like, watch The Boys. And I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't care for it.
Just read the comics.
It's too woke for me.
Again, read the comics. That'll solve that.
I didn't like that Homelander's the villain. Anyway,
This is not a boys episode.
that none of us have watched.
I've read the comics if you want to read
Do
them.
you guys
They're
do
pretty
like
good.
a specific budget? Like, I'm only spending this amount of money on certain apps.
I'm about to.
I've done that. I've done it to where I think I'm just gonna keep Netflix now because it's so cheap with the ads.
Mhm.
By the way, Redditors, this is for you. Shut up about the ads. Nobody cares. It's you can't wait 30 seconds.
Don't say that around Connor. He cares immensely about the ads.
You can't go to the restroom for 30 seconds. You have to watch something. You can't have a 30-second break from watching a TV show.
No.
During movies is
Yeah.
understandable. I hate when movies do it. Hulu has done it really well where they play it like all their ads in the first 20 minutes and then the last hour and a half of a movie,
Mhm.
no ads, which I love. Netflix, I don't know yet. HBO Max can go die in a hole because that was so stupid
It was
watching
so
Chinatown.
annoying.
That was awful. That was abysmal.
But like for TV shows are written with breaks in them anyways.
Right.
So
So yeah,
Just-
like if I'm watching something with like a built-in break, then yeah, exactly.
it's the biggest thing. It's the biggest like outrage I've seen that I'm like, you guys unironically need to go touch grass.
No, what bothers me about it, and this is all I'll say, because now that we started this, I have to get out there, is if I'm already paying you to watch your content and I'm giving you money already, why are you flashing advertisements in my face?
That's literally everything that you pay for, Connor.
Well, no, that's the point though. Is like, and I have this with all advertising everywhere, because like on like a free platform like YouTube where everything's free,
Yeah.
it makes sense. That's how they make their money is
Yeah.
via advertisements. I'm giving you money, so you're making your money off of me. Obviously, they're making money off of advertisements. I know how this works. I'm not stupid. I know
Yeah.
how business is. But like from a consumer standpoint, I'm giving you my money already, and you're using that money to interrupt what I'm paying for. So now I'm paying for advertising is what I'm doing.
It's
Which is
cable.
stupid. Well, yeah, but I'm not supposed to be getting cable. Like, that's the whole point. So I'm like, when they're like, we're gonna start
I don't
introducing
know.
ads, I'm
I
like,
think that was the biggest outrage over nothing, personally.
it's just like you're saying, it's coming back to cable, and it's
But-
like, well, then why the frick are we doing this?
In my defense, I watch live sports like
Fair.
a lot, so
Yeah.
I'm used to ad breaks
Yeah.
where I'm like, oh, this is the perfect time to go to the restroom.
Mhm.
So I'm probably not. I don't know.
and I mean, that's the other
I
thing.
think we could
is
just
like,
chill out. Is what I'm saying.
is like, if I want to go to the restroom, I can just hit pause because I'm streaming something. It's fine on cable because it's just happening. You know, it's like, oh, ad break, perfect. I can get up, go do something else. But I'm
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
you know, I don't want ads when I'm like actively watching something and trying to be engaged. I think.
James, you're the tiebreaker. How do you feel about ads?
James is like, I don't want no part of this conversation.
James is impartial.
Yeah. He's like, I know you two are just gonna kiss and make up later. It's fine.
Hey yo.
I don't really care for ads.
No,
I
I
don't use ad
like
blocker.
ads.
I don't use ad blocker at all.
Oh, you're wild. Well,
Yeah.
YouTube found a way to block the ad blocker. It's
Yeah.
been so annoying.
They can try.
I will
I mean,
sit
I
through
love ads on YouTube. They're great.
No, they did it.
No, they failed every time. It
I
gets, it
don't
gets
know.
fixed in like a week, in
Oh,
like less
okay.
than that now.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have the update. I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
I speak like I know how it works. Anyway, sorry.
One of the advantages of streaming is that the storytelling of TV shows is no longer confined to ad breaks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now they're putting in commercials again.
Yeah.
Meaning that the writing can be confined to ad breaks.
Mhm.
You don't have to do that, but it will make the watching and viewing experience awkward.
Yeah.
Putting advertisements during a movie is dumb.
Yes.
And whoever did that,
I'm with that.
should be fired.
At least if you're gonna
Well,
show
no, they're
me,
making a lot of money because of that
They're
guy.
making a lot of
if
money
you're gonna
because
show
of
me
that guy.
3 minutes worth of ads throughout my movie, just show me the 3 minutes in the beginning.
Make them a
Yeah.
preview. Yeah, like if you're
Yeah.
going to the theater.
Amazon Prime does that, and
Yeah.
I love that about
Yeah.
it. But like what HBO Max did is like turned me off of the entire service.
That was
basically.
bonkers. I didn't know it was gonna be that bad.
That was wild.
I didn't think it would even happen at all. That there would be
Yeah.
10 different
Yeah.
ad breaks
Yeah.
spaced every 30 minutes. Like that's so stupid in my opinion.
That was silly.
And I think that's really what it boils down to. If I'm watching something made for advertising, then like, yeah, like ad breaks are organic, they make sense.
Mhm.
The pacing isn't thrown off, it's all good. When I'm watching something that was clearly made to be consumed in a single sitting with no pauses, and then you're breaking it up constantly, it's just like,
But then they get HBO Max and HBO Max Plus, where the Max Plus you get ad-free viewing.
well, that's where it comes down to.
Yeah.
That it's just another tool to make more money. They're
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
money off you anyway, and it's just like, I'm already giving you my money. Like,
Yeah.
stop. Anyway, subscribe to our Patreon.
How do you feel about the loss of the ad break in at least in terms of episodic television?
So I will start by disclaiming that a lot of the television that I personally watch is under 30 minutes anyway.
Okay.
Mostly cartoons.
Yeah.
One of my favorite TV shows going on right now is Smiling Friends, which is a Adult Swim show that was actually created by Oni Plays, if you know that YouTube channel.
Yeah. Wait, it was made by Oni?
Yeah.
Wow. That
Oni, like the Halo guys?
And so, but it's only like every episode is 11 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a, commercials at the beginning, maybe one in the middle, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And that's most of what I watch. Anyway, I'm so used to the traditional structure of narrative storytelling on television that if it's written for an ad break and then it doesn't go to commercial, it kind of throws me off a little bit. Like, do you remember watching like old school Scooby-Doo episodes where it would fade to black and you'd be like, oh, it's going to go to commercial. And then it would immediately come back and you're like, what? And then 2 minutes later, it would go to actual commercial.
Better Call Saul has that on Netflix where they still have the cuts to black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't spend, like, somebody can't go in there and just edit that out.
Yeah.
If they wanted. I mean, now that Netflix has ads, obviously, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, while I was watching, I was just like, I'm 5 seconds of staring at myself.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens a lot with old anime where they have like eye catches.
Yeah.
It's like an episode will stop, it'll do an eye catch, and it'll immediately do the next one. You're like,
yeah,
that's jarring.
Yeah.
Dude, if you want to talk about streaming services that fumbled, talk about Crunchyroll.
Oh, no.
But anyway,
R.I.P.
Anyway.
Crunchyroll.
No, I don't mind that kind of style of storytelling personally. And in fact, I think it would be awesome if people continued using that style even when they weren't built for streaming anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, I think it's just a great narrative device to structure your story into 3 acts.
Because you build to a natural, like,
end
peak
Yeah.
to action, right? And then you go to a commercial and you have a sense of tense.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you're like, what is going on? And it even like a writing formula, which I remember Mayday always talking about and like stressing, like, make sure your ad breaks are like the biggest parts of your episodes.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that works. Because you think of like great episodes of television. It's like Breaking Bad, Ozymandias started with Walter getting dropped on the floor of the thing, and you were like, yo, what's about to happen? I don't know.
Big Breaking Bad fan.
You ever watched Breaking Bad?
I watched like 4/5 of it.
What does that even mean?
Well, there's only 5 seasons.
4/5 of one season?
You watched 4 seasons?
I think I watched.
You watched 4 seasons of Breaking Bad and didn't watch the 5th?
Watch the
What the hell? I don't remember why.
Did you pull an Attack on Titan and was like, nope, he shaved his head. They jumped the shark.
No, it was just like I think I was invested into it, and then like I just didn't finish it.
I think you should definitely finish it.
I plan to eventually.
The
It's just
last
one of
4
those, like-
episodes, I'll say right now, the last 4 episodes are peak television.
Yeah. I was super invested into it, and then I think like I got distracted by like something else came out around that time, like when I was finishing it, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get back to this," and then I never did. And now I remember
It's
nothing.
on Netflix.
That is me with Attack on Titan, though, where I got all the way up to
'cause Attack on
season
Titan
3,
got bad.
and then season 4, I just...
Is that bait?
No, that's my honest opinion. You can fight me in the comments.
Connor's the control group.
I'm just trying to drum up engagement.
Speaking of new seasons of shows,
Yeah. All right. Let me clear the floor here. Kobe Bryant, 2008 NBA Finals. There's my obscure NBA reference. Take a shot if you're playing that game. The Bears season 3 sucks.
really?
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's okay. It's entertaining.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at the take a shot if you're playing that game. We should make a drinking game for IG.
We do, James.
Yeah,
Every
we
time
do.
he brings up Terrence Malick, every time I bring up The Dark Knight, and now it's NBA references.
Yeah. Well, shit, I gotta think of one then.
You would be some like obscure board game or like anime that you watched.
Every time Connor brings up
Yeah.
League of Legends.
Or Final Fantasy 17 would be
yeah.
yours. Yeah.
It's anytime Connor says a joke and then immediately says, oh, never mind.
It's anytime I say something, but it's really quiet, so it doesn't really get picked up by the mic. But like you can tell, that
And then
I'm
I go in the
giggling about
editor
it.
and I just boost it.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, The Bear season 3 is.
So
mid
what was
at
great
best.
about season 1 and 2?
Season 1 was phenomenal TV. It every episode was formatted a different way, whether it was cinematography, it was the editing style, just overall character, like acting. I thought was phenomenally well done. I think I said to you, there is an episode in season 1. I think it's episode 6 or 7. It's all one shot. It's a 20-minute episode, and it's all one shot, and it's probably.
That's pretty cool.
To me, it's still the best episode of the series.
Mhm.
And then the finale, I thought, ended on a beautiful note. I thought it was a great, touching story of like, coming through and pushing through like, childhood trauma and PTSD and stuff like that. And I think I remember telling you when I reviewed it, I was like, they should just stop here.
Yeah.
And I have yet to be proven wrong.
You didn't like season 2 either?
Season 2 is okay. I have a big problem with the actual world of the show. This is Isaac's hot take of the week. Just go back to sandwiches, my guy. What was wrong about serving sandwiches? You had a clientele in a neighborhood that knew who you were. Just make the sandwiches better, run the store a little bit better, and you would have made a killing. Like, let me ask you this. How many fast casual to casual restaurants have you been to where you're like, I'm coming back here?
Fast casual?
Yeah.
Casual?
Like
not
Tumble
fast food,
22,
but you're talking
like
about like a
Home
Tumble 22,
Slice,
Okay, so
like a
it's
Red
one of those-
Robin.
I mean, ramen, Tatsuya, places like that, right?
Yeah.
Where you know it's going to be good quality food. You know
Mhm.
the people who go
Mhm.
there.
Pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean,
How many fine dining places have you been to?
Very few.
Why do you not go to fine dining?
expensive.
It's expensive because you're not the market clientele.
Yeah, you're not the clientele,
So
yeah.
my thing is like, he's in a neighborhood that's clearly not the
Fine
best
dining.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he's trying to open a fine dining restaurant.
Mhm.
And the whole season 3 is like, you don't have enough money to do this. And he's like, fuck you, I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
And in the back of my head, I'm just like, dude, just go back to sandwiches. It's so, like, you had the money there. So that was one of my problems with season 2.
Maybe that's season 4.
Yeah, maybe it's
Sarah
setting up his
actually
character.
theorized that they're
Yeah.
going to go back,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I would be excited. But anyway, season 3, my main problem with season 3, nothing happens.
No?
There's nothing exciting that happens other than one of the characters gives birth. And it's probably the worst. Everybody says it's the best episode
Guy
of the
or girl?
series.
If you're watching at home, take a shot.
It's one of the worst. God damn it, Connor. I gotta cut that out. Or boost it.
I don't think there was anything bad about that. I think it's just a really silly joke.
Connor's gonna get us canceled.
Come on. James, should we cut that?
Mpreg is a thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was what I was going
I don't
for.
even know what he said.
You
What
don't-
did you
you don't
say?
wanna
What
know.
is impreg?
Anyway, go on with your rant. Go on with your rant, please.
No, it's just not. It's not.
This is getting linked to a couple of my friends.
I was gonna say we're gonna show Isaac, and then we're gonna get put on the watch list.
Make this entire section the Instagram reel.
God damn it. I was just like looking like an idiot. Just cut to my face like.
We'll show you afterwards. This whole section's getting cut.
Anyways,
So the bear.
yeah, it's just mid. I think
Mhm.
characters don't progress. Yeah.
So I don't
Before
mean
I
to.
need to recollect my thoughts. No, I need to
Okay.
recollect my thoughts. Anyways, you're
I
saving
have a
me.
theory. This is a trend
theory?
I've noticed. It's a TV theory. A trend I've
Matt
noticed
Pat for president, by the way. He's 37 years old. Anyway, sorry.
with a lot of television shows from about 2010 onwards. Maybe not that late. Maybe around 2019 or so.
Okay.
First season of a show is fantastic. Second season of a show, sometimes even better.
Yeah.
Third season almost always misses the mark.
Mhm.
And I've noticed that shows that continue past the fourth season almost always decline in quality. And it's specifically kind of the post Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad era.
Yeah.
You know, like the first show that I really noticed it with was Rick and Morty, where it felt like the first 2 seasons, people were like, this is
Peak.
again.
Peaks into it, yeah.
And now, who even talks about the show anymore?
Which is funny because I've heard the newer season is actually really good.
Yeah.
Like the post Justin Roiland stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I personally have not watched since season
think
3.
I've watched a single episode of Rick and Morty ever.
I'm not a big fan of the show, but it was the first one that I noticed.
Right.
And then, I don't know what it is with. It might be with streaming pushing seasons out more frequently, or maybe it's just selective bias on my part. But do you guys feel like you've noticed that trend before?
I think it's just you either have to, and I've noticed this with a lot of the like Pantheon level shows. The first 2 seasons are really good because it's an original idea, it's something new, it's something fresh. Season 3, you either have to continue that, like the content, right, the design of the show, or you reinvent the wheel.
Yeah,
right,
and that can really make or break a show. Like
The Bear,
or I was gonna say Mad Men. Like the first 2 seasons of Mad Men are very kind of like formulaic in a way. They're very simple. You're dealing with a little bit of Don Draper's inner psyche, but then by season 3 onwards, you're like fully into him as a character. It's basically just a character study on him for the final whatever episodes. And that, I think, a lot of people were like, this is why Mad Men is up there. And I mean, Game of Thrones is similar in that way where nobody really dies the first 2 seasons except for the main guy. Spoiler. But then season 3, it's like, yo, everybody's heads are coming off. And somebody's going to be mad about like, well, what about her? I don't care about Game of Thrones.
What's funny is I kind of noticed that a little bit, and not even with necessarily.
If this is an Attack on Titan thing, we're gonna fight.
No. I wasn't even going with that. I'll just say,
just kidding.
Not even necessarily just with shows where it's every season is following the same story. So when you were talking about like okay, first season's good, second season's really good, third season
like anthology shows.
Yeah, I was thinking Black Mirror.
I was thinking True Detectives.
Because like Black Mirror's on like season 6 or something, and it's like,
that's
the first 2 were fantastic, and
Yeah.
like they've had just kind of going downhill ever since. And obviously each one of those episodes is a completely new story. But I was saying the same thing where I was like, wow, like by the time you're getting to like 40 episodes deep, you really got to know what you're doing, or else you're in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, not every show is Twilight Zone.
There's a lot of contributing factors to this. I think part of it has to do with the expectations going into a show. When you have really high introductions, whether you try to meet those expectations or whether you try to subvert them can, like you said, make or break a show. I think part of it also has to do with staff behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of instances. True Detectives would be one. The Boondocks, if you guys ever watch that Adult Swim show, would be another good one. Hell, even SpongeBob, where key people
R.I.P.
in the development of the show leave after a certain point. Literally with SpongeBob, it was after season 3.
Yeah.
And then the show went downhill from there. So our generation thinks.
Yeah.
And so that sometimes is a contributing factor as well. I don't know what it is about, somewhere around the 3rd season, people will just start kind of jumping ship on something.
I haven't, or go ahead, Connor.
I would say it's kind of like Isaac said, where it's like about then usually like you've had enough time with your characters that like they maybe have completed their first major arc. They're most things have kind of resolved, so you need to like come up with something new. I mean, I think it's why like a lot of like books are trilogies, because by the time you hit the 3rd, you're like, well, I mean, 3 acts, right? I've hit the end of that first arc. I need to either come up with something really, really good or do something else. And so a lot of people are like, well, I don't have anything really, really good to continue this. There's no other defining character trait for this person, so I'm just going to jump ship. But then it makes money, so like, well, we got to put out another one.
It's also just a lack of long-term planning, right? You think of the Pantheon shows, Game of Thrones notwithstanding, all the creators knew how they wanted to end the show. It was just a matter of how do we get there that, in a lot of instances, made the show great.
So based off of that data, let me theorize this.
This is all anecdotal. And
do you think it would be better if people, creators that is, started planning their shows for just 1 or 2 seasons? People get angry at Netflix for canceling stuff on a whim.
Yeah.
But somebody could use that to their advantage. Let's say The Bear did.
Yeah.
you would just get that one season, and it's at like what 100% or something on freaking Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb. That would be all that you have.
Yeah.
You could argue that that's just what a miniseries is, but
I mean,
think about. I mean, we're both anime fans.
Yeah.
That's
the
like the entire industry.
That is the standard.
Yeah.
I've always maintained it's a misuse of the genre of not the genre, like the
medium.
The medium, yes, thank you. Like TV is supposed to be about characters and like seeing them evolve and grow, and that's one of the problems I have with season 3 of The Bears. Nobody really grows, and it's like people are like, "Oh, that's realistic." It's like it's television. It's not supposed to be realistic. If I wanted to watch something realistic, I would go on the History Channel. I don't want to watch realism. I want to watch. I don't know. That just came out of nowhere. I don't want to watch realism. I want
the worst option for realism.
I want to be entertained. And it's like the whole Jamie Lee Curtis is one of the greatest actors of all time because of the way her performance. I'm like, that's not good. Like people are like, oh, it's realistic. Like if you don't like it, you don't have an overbearing mother. It's like I don't have an overbearing mother, but I'm just like, that's not. It's not fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't understand people.
I'm thinking like
I don't understand that thought process.
Streaming is redefining the medium of television, though.
Yeah.
I think people should start planning shows just as individual seasons.
I think at that point you just make movies.
I don't think so either, because think about it this way: if you're not confined to ad breaks, your episodes can be however long they need to be. You're not confined to conventional time limits of, network programming.
Yeah.
So we can have hour-long episodes of TV shows. You're not necessarily confined to season length either. I know that we have had this argument before about how long, the perfect length for a good season.
Mm-hmm.
I think 13 episodes is generally around.
That's what we I think agreed on.
Yeah. Solid. Although I am totally fine with things being a little bit shorter than 13, personally. But even if you had 25 episodes in the season, each episode being an hour long, you can do so much in exploring a character or an idea or a world. You don't even need a season 2 at that point. That's how I think streaming has redefined television, and I'm sad that not enough people are taking advantage of that. The amount of TV shows Netflix has canceled where the first thing people will complain about is it ended on a cliffhanger, though. We needed a season 2. And Netflix just said, nope, sorry. It's like, you guys didn't look at what happened to everybody else and then plan for that? Or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, did you want to make the fans angry at the end of the day? I don't know. You can't, you can't plan for that. Well, just make it intentional then.
It's definitely one of those things where the creators are like, all right, we're not going to plan a season finale, so that way the studio is like, oh, well, you guys have to have like a movie or something, and it's the studio is actually like,
we just don't have to have you at all.
That's how that's Walker didn't end on a season, like a series, a conventional series finale. It just ended.
Yeah.
And it's like, for a lot of people, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. That can happen.
So I don't know. I think we've gone too far where movies. I like what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but I think we've gone too far where TV shows have become like we have a start, middle, end. And I think great television always is we know the start and the end, but we're gonna find our way along, and we're gonna basically like slice of life into characters' lives or into the character's world, where this is what's happening.
Well,
and I think Game of Thrones is the reason why everybody does. Like Stranger Things, I've mentioned this many times. Stranger Things as a Monster of the Week series would have done amazing things. But it's just become like a shell and a parody of itself in a way because it's so 80s porn. Like, it's like, this is too much.
Well, my counter argument would be the perfect example of what I like. My ideal vision of streaming services is exactly what Disney has done with Marvel and Star Wars, where it's just one show, one season, however many episodes.
Unless you're the Mandalorian.
Unlimited length. Unless you're the Mandalorian, but Andor was that.
Yeah.
The Acolyte.
Which is interesting because the first season of every Disney show is actually really, really solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're both right at the end of the day.
Well, I think your method works well when it's within a franchise. Because you can use the 10 hours to say, hey, we're going to tell a story about
these people over
such
here.
And such.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to tell a story about the High Republic era or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the beginning of the Sith. We're going to tell a story about that. I think it works for that because it's just basically a mini
It's world
series.
building.
It does a lot of the exposition for you.
Yeah.
So you can cut out a lot of crap.
We're just like rediscovering the same decision Disney already made.
Yeah.
Like 10 years
Bob
ago.
Iger, feel free to call us.
We're arriving at the exact same
one
conclusion.
is free, Bob Iger. That one is free. The next one is like,
One
we're
Disney
gonna
intern's
send you
like,
a memo.
oh my god, these guys are stupid. Wow.
We're just
We don't get paid for this. We're not professionals.
We're not getting paid. Dude, I quit my job for this.
My only
You better start learning how to edit.
Oh no.
I think that, Netflix should take advantage of it more.
Yeah. I
But
mean, especially if you're going to put out $400 billion worth of content.
I think it still works outside of franchises, though, is my thing. I think part of the reason it has not worked for Disney is just because their
Well, the
production
actual content
schedule,
is bad, yeah.
yeah, and their actual production
Mhm.
model
Sure.
expedites every step of the process,
Yeah.
which is counterproductive.
That's a discussion for 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, when we were covering it.
Yeah.
And like I would agree with your take that it doesn't necessarily need to be in a franchise to work because that's effectively what a short story is. At the end of the day.
It's a miniseries.
Yeah,
basically.
it's a miniseries,
yeah,
short story. Yeah, it's just
Just don't call it a miniseries. Call it a TV show.
yeah, just call it a TV show.
People will buy it.
Like Watchmen.
Yeah, that's exactly. You
Well,
can
I guess
tell
that's a franchise.
you can tell a contained story within a handful of episodes and not need to say much else.
Yeah.
But I think the studios see too much. Like Shogun was supposed to be one season, and then FX was like, "No, you're making 2 more," and it's like, I mean, the Bear. I feel like was very similar. Well, I guess the Bear was supposed to be 3, and they made it. Well, yeah, the Bear they made it. He originally wanted it to be 3, and it's 4.
That's happened before. I'm trying to think of what example it was, but
There's plenty of-
100%. There are
yeah.
so many examples where it's like, this
We
is
don't
going
want
to
you to
end
end.
here, and then nope, we want you to do another season.
Oh, I mean that runs into the conversation of like how much is art being destroyed by media conglomerates forcing people to keep creating. Because like that happens a ton in like anime
Yeah.
and manga where it's like this is a cash cow.
Yeah.
We need you
One
to
Piece.
keep pumping out stuff constantly.
This is a pro One Piece podcast, by the way.
Sure,
I was-
but I
I
can
was
still
gonna-
acknowledge that 1,000
Well, yeah.
What was it?
plus chapters is ridiculous.
Unironically, I think One Piece is the only one where they're like actually like Oda is just that crazy.
Yeah.
But like like
local man doesn't want to stop working.
Yeah.
but like
It's that and freaking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
yeah, or they just have these wild
They're
ideas.
just
They know what's
doing-
up.
And then there's guys like there's like other guys who are like, yeah, I come out with one every 5 years.
Yeah. Freaking Vagabond.
But yeah, so like that's like a very common occurrence where they'll come back after it's done and they're like, yeah, I mean, I planned it to only be like half the size that it was, but it made a lot of
Yeah.
money, so I didn't really think past this.
I would love the idea of a TV show, live action or anime, that doesn't matter, where the creators would come out with a season and then they would just go on hiatus and they would just do another one whenever they had the ideas for it. Not confined to any conventional sense of like every, year and a half or 2 years. Literally, if you took 10 years between seasons, I would be like, as long as it's
you
quality.
want a saga?
Yeah. A saga.
God,
Where
yeah,
they're
when we
like,
get
all right, every 5 issues we're
Yeah.
gonna go on a 6-month.
It comes
break.
out when it's done.
Yeah.
Basically.
I actually kind of respect that,
Yeah.
I do
I
too.
would too.
It just
It's
doesn't
never
make
gonna
money.
happen.
even if it's very annoying watching
Yeah.
or reading them. I guess live.
Yeah.
It's like
Mhm.
nothing happens.
But that's part of the reason I think why I have always been so initially drawn to British television is because it's like, we're going to give you
4 episodes,
2
an hour and a half
seasons,
each.
6 episodes
Yeah.
each season,
Yeah.
and then maybe they'll get a movie and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm here for it, man. One of my favorite British TV shows is called The Thick of It. It's about like the government and a lot of their scandals. It's basically like Veep, if you know that HBO
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
The first season, 3 episodes. That's all they needed.
That's all I need.
But it was good. I mean, it's kind of like a pilot season anyway.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that's something that was on my mind.
So yeah, that was my Spare season 3. 6 out of 10 from Isaac.
6 out of 10 is not bad.
Also,
Yeah,
it
6 out of 10 is
ends-
not bad.
The season ends on a cliffhanger.
Of course.
Not the episode, the season. It's so stupid.
I
What
was
if it
gonna
gets
say,
canceled?
do you guys like that?
No.
Oh.
I hate that.
It's awful.
Okay.
I've always been always been in the mindset that seasons should be
It should be contained narrative.
Yeah.
yes. There is a formula to writing episodic television. There's an A series. There's an A through line, which is episode to episode. A B, which goes, like through multiple episodes. Maybe there's like a C, where it's like season to season, or maybe it comes up at a later season.
Mhm.
But like the seasons within themselves should tell a story.
And like you can have a contained story and still have setup and like a cliffhanger for season 2.
Yeah.
An example that comes to mind is The Last Airbender, where you can watch any of those and it's a contained narrative.
Mhm.
But like if you finish season 1, they're like, well, I mean, yeah, it's a good season finale. There's no active cliffhanger, but like there's hard setup for the next season. And you're
Yeah.
like, well, I kind of want to go watch the next season now.
Yeah.
So do you think Avatar: The Last Airbender is the greatest written TV show of all time?
That was not meant to be a pivot, James. I just.
How do you feel about Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Oh my god.
Wait, are we talking the TV show, like
The TV show.
animated,
What
or
do you mean?
the? Hold
There's-
on,
there's
the
only the one
animated
show.
and the live action.
There's only the one show. They only have the animated show. What are you talking about?
Oh, really? On
Yeah.
Netflix, I saw the
No,
live
they
action
don't.
one.
No,
Oh,
they
that's
don't. Shut
interesting. Oh.
There's no Warren Bossing say.
It's kind of
Oh.
funny because I heard the number one. I'll let you cook in a little bit, but the number one review I heard was, "Well, if you're not a fan of the animated show, you'll like the live action show." And I'm like, that might be the biggest backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
But if you don't like the original source material, you might like this one. Or if you're not a fan of the original source material.
The demographic of people who did not like the original show are people who are all dead because they never got to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those shows that came out, and I was really excited about it. And
I was not.
I was like, I'll get
Why?
around to it when it comes. Well, just because I was hoping for something.
Okay.
good. Hope is a powerful thing, James.
It let
And I
you
was-
down with Scott Pilgrim.
I was like, I'll come. I like Scott Pilgrim.
The movie?
The live action, the animated show.
I like that show.
Oh, I think it was.
Yeah, it was
that
actually
good
good
like that
into
one?
it.
Oh, okay, I thought.
Anyway, but yeah, we're just like, and then like people who like I deeply trust watched it before I did, and we're like, don't watch it. They're like, just don't
I knew
bother.
from
And
the
I was like,
trailers that show was going to be bad.
It was.
I
think
knew
it was
from the
last
concept
trailer.
it was going to be bad.
Yeah, what?
You can
Connor,
find
I'm
it
going to let you in a little secret. Anytime the original creators of
From a part of it. Yeah.
of a project leave,
Mhm.
probably a good idea to not be.
That was when I was kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
this might be going to.
As soon as I saw that, I said, and then they were like, "We're gonna make our own series." I was like, "Yeah, it's so Jover." Anyways, so yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender,
I mean,
best TV show of all time.
no. That wasn't wasn't gonna be my point. It's just a good show.
But you're a big fan of animated shows, huh?
Yeah.
Why's that?
Well, I mean, okay, I feel like this is a really awkward transition that you're trying to force.
Well, when you mentioned this is an awkward transition, it's an awkward transition. First rule of show business, Connor: don't mention the transition. God damn it! How long have we been doing this?
No, you
well, yeah,
can
but
save
it's funny.
it.
It's part of my bit.
You can save it. Start your point by saying, piggybacking off of what you had to say.
Yeah, I know.
Go ahead.
I'm making a bit out of it.
Yeah, I'm setting it up for you.
Anyways, we're running through tape.
Anyway, I mean, yeah, I like good animated stuff because, I mean, it's one of those things. James has talked about this a lot, and I think we have talked about it together. I don't know if we've hashed out over the pod. I think I missed that episode. About like animation in general, just being something that has a lot of really good stories and content behind
Mhm.
it that a lot of people skip over because it's animated.
Yeah.
Um.
I mean, we talked about that in our Spider-Man review.
Yeah.
But you and I go different ways on it, though, because
Me and you, or you and Connor.
Connor
Yeah,
and I,
okay.
because I'm a bigger fan, I think, of what you would call adult animation. And I don't know if you really have a lot of respect for those.
Well, I mean,
Kinda
depends on the
shows.
show, but like, and like,
Yeah, wait, yeah, you gotta hold on. We got a disclaimer. What kind of show? There are a multitude of animated shows. Are you watching like Blue's Clues? Like, what are we talking about here?
My Little Pony?
Yeah.
Listen, Blue's Clues slaps. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. That went hard when I was 2.
Okay.
My Little Pony slaps too. Are you a fan of that? No?
All right. Anyways, continue.
I'm just talking like just animation in general because like there are good adult animated shows, and not even just like the ones that are just like this is just for comedy. Like they're just
Yeah, like Family Guy.
animated shows that are aimed at adults.
Good
um,
American content.
And
No, you're thinking of American Dad.
Yeah, how'd you miss that one? And then like obviously there are shows that are animated, but they're aimed at children, or like a younger audience, more like young adults,
Like Family Guy.
like Family Guy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say South Park.
I was going to say South Park too. Yeah, that's a good one.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know who really watches those shows.
Yeah.
When I watched them when I was a kid, other kids are watching them.
Yeah. When you go in when you like a show and your only place to buy merchandise of it is in a Hot Topic, that show is not made for adults. Nothing against Hot Topic. I bought a lot of shirts from there.
R.I.P. Hot Topic.
Who buy merchandise for a TV show?
What?
Never mind. Keep going.
What do you mean who would buy merchandise?
Oh my God, just
Anyway.
keep going.
Sorry, I get caught up on stuff. I kind of lost my train of thought as I was cooking anyway.
You were talking about animated shows.
So
I mean, just
I'll make this point in regards to animation in television specifically, not just in film. Obviously, you can tell the exact same kind of stories in animation that you can do in live action. I don't think anybody would doubt that. We tend not to. And I know that Hollywood, as an industry, is of the opinion that animation skews for children.
Yeah.
Which plenty of people who work in animation are pretty livid every time that comes up. But I'm a big fan of Adult Swim. I've been watching it since I was a kid, ironically.
Wait a minute.
hold up.
FBI, get this man.
Yes. You stayed up past when the class.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, it was
When
just me
Cartoon Network
waking
became
up. It was
Adult
just me
Swim.
waking up early in the morning.
Yeah.
Catching freaking Inuyasha early in the morning.
Oh God.
We love
Universal Experience.
Yeah.
FLCL was another show that they would play. But I think animation opens up so much more storytelling potential that you just don't have access to. That to dismiss it entirely, not just as children's media, but to just not watch it or give into it.
Yeah.
Now, comedy has a different reputation, I think.
Oh.
You don't say.
There's not too many animated comedies that I would outright recommend to people if they didn't have my specific sense of humor. And I am not a fan of South Park or Family Guy or The Simpsons. I'm talking like Aqua Teen Hunger Force levels of,
James likes the
That's-
obscure art.
yeah. I think I came home, you walked in one day and I was watching like 12-ounce Mouse. And I was like, it was like you would walk in on me watching porn. I'm like, I have no way of explaining this to you. Like,
I think I audibly went, what the fuck?
I'm like, I'm not going to pause this and explain the plot. Like, just turn away, don't.
Just sit here and vibe.
Yeah.
No. That reminds me, James, when we're done here, I got to send you a link to a show on YouTube that I think you'll really enjoy. Same kind of obscured, this is not funny.
Why is this
anybody
gonna be
but-
like Happy Tree Friends?
Do we think that is changing that mindset? We've talked about
No,
this.
absolutely not.
No. Not even
wait.
remotely.
Well, hold up. Let me get there.
Yeah.
Because the Spider-Man movies made a buttload of money.
Yeah.
And when we went to go watch the recent one, there was like no kids, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, there were kids, but not.
Even when I saw it again,
Yeah.
it was a packed theater.
No kids.
Yeah.
We're not
Same with Boy in the Heron.
skewed towards our demographic, I feel like.
Yeah.
And two, Inside Out 2 just made $1 billion and is Pixar's highest grossing movie of all time. And it's like, kids only have so much power.
Yeah.
Like at some point it is adults going to watch those
There are only
movies.
so many children in the world.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think that like part of that is that the generation that grew up on these things,
Are making them.
well, I mean, are the adults watching them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, what does it say? We're all nerds. All three of us here at this couch are total nerds. So like,
Excuse me, I'm wearing a collared shirt here.
whatever.
I have a big
so
boy
is James.
job. Oh, damn it, I forgot.
But like, so like when we're like Spider-Man movie, I like Spider-Man. I grew
Yeah.
up on Spider-Man. It didn't matter that it was animated.
Spider-Man, it's
We're
dope.
just like Spider-Man, yeah, hell yeah. And like Inside Out, like that was a show that, or not a show, well,
Movie.
that was
Yeah.
a movie that came out
Yeah.
when we were a little bit younger. And like for some people, like that was, like, oh, I remember watching this when I was just, but a wee lad.
But the wee
And I'm gonna
lad.
go back and watch the new thing that came out. I mean, like the Toy Stories, Toy Story 3. That was like what, 15 years after Toy Story 2 or something?
Other way around. Toy Story 4
Correct.
came out 15 years
Sorry,
after Toy Story.
I had my numbers wrong. And I mean, like I watched that as an adult. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go watch this because that was what I watched as a kid. And I think I've brought this up before in one of our episodes. Just the fact that like, like Hollywood as a whole and a lot of older people still view it as this is for kids, but the kids have just grown up now.
It's the same thing with television. I mean, duh. Same thing with video games.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that hampers animated television is they don't rely on serialized storytelling as much.
Mhm.
It's very much one episode is one contained episode with very few shows. And this is something that has only really happened recently, I think. We'll have story arcs that go, across an entire season or even across the entire show. Like, for example, people will mention, at least among our age, Mystery Incorporated as being like the best example of that. I rewatched that show recently. It's like the last 5 episodes are really the only part of the show that even has
like any kind of plot,
consistent plot to it. It's like there's certainly an overarching story, quote unquote, but every episode is literally just the same. It's just status quo as God all over again, which it's still a kid's show at the end of the day, And I feel like that's part of the reason why I am somewhat skeptical of, the idea that children's show is supposed to be seen as being this like, forward pushing or like cutting edge. There are things that I think children's animation is doing better than any other form of television, let alone media at this point.
Right.
LGBT representation would be one of those.
Yeah.
But it's still a children's show.
Mhm.
It has that function to fulfill. But I can't imagine somebody saying, I'm a fan of good narrative storytelling, and then not watching something like Primal, Genndy Tartakovsky's show for Adult Swim that only had, I think, maybe 2 seasons, but it was entirely dialogueless. But it had an overarching story plot to it. But it was just animated storytelling. No dialogue at all throughout the show. Imagine saying that you're a fan of good narrative storytelling and then not even like watching at least an episode of that.
Yeah.
But people probably don't even know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. They probably just skipped over it completely because they saw that it was animated. Didn't care.
They're just hitting 15 seconds plus on this video.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like that happens with a lot of these shows where the narrative is like the last like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
For these kid shows, because like you said, like you just put that in your mouth.
Don't Connor cook.
Stop
we're
getting
like
distracted. We're like
Adventure Time is the most egregious example.
Adventure Time would be the absolute like pinnacle of most egregious example of where it's literally just backloaded.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that pops in mind is like Teen Titans. The Teen Titans animated show did that to like an absurd degree. Where they're like,
that's true.
Every handful of episodes was just like, monster of the week, villain of the week. And like every once in a while you'd have like a really powerful character moment in there.
Yeah.
And it would persist, but then like it's still just like monster of the week, monster of the week, monster of the week. You're like, go back. Like we just had Cyborg and Starfire have an entire comment and moment about racism.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna gloss over that because the monster's back? Like what?
There's definitely, and I think looking back, certain TV shows, and funny enough, it's mostly those shows like Teen Titans or Young Justice have those reputations because they got canceled and aren't finished.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing, left to them. Like, okay, do you want to talk about great television? Have you guys ever heard of a show called Moral Oral?
No.
It was an Adult Swim show. It was 11 minutes in runtime, and it was stop motion animation. And the show was a parody, or at least it began as a parody of Leave It to Beaver style 50s over moralizing, hence the name, sitcom style shows. Mostly attacking Christianity. I don't remember how many episodes there are per season, but as the show progressed, it began to have a more serialized element to its storytelling, where certain characters would get developed to the point where towards season finale, they would have these big defining character moments. Now, the show didn't just get canceled. it got canceled halfway through a season.
Ouch.
The reason why is absolutely fascinating, in my opinion, but that might be a story for another time. And it's a very, very rare case. If you want to talk about, dramatic animation doesn't really exist in the West.
Yeah.
And I think anybody who has ever watched anime in their life will tell you that nothing America could do would compare.
Yeah.
Massive eye roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know those people.
But there's very few. You can't deny that, though.
No, yeah, of course.
And like 4 of those 5 shows are all Gendy Tartakovsky anyway,
Yeah.
between Primal and Samurai Jack.
Oh.
It's like you don't have dramatic animated storytelling in America, essentially.
Yeah, it's just something that we haven't, because the American consumer doesn't really go to watch
Animation
that often.
Yeah, and that's part of, I think,
what do they call it? A catch-22?
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
There's no financing in adult animation because there's nobody watching it. Nobody watches it because there's no financing in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thus the cycle begins anew.
Yeah.
It's an interesting. Any other quick hitters you guys want to hit? I got a couple trailers that I watched recently.
Oh, yeah?
Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Formula 1.
Yes, that's the one I wanted to talk about.
I have not watched the trailer.
There's another one.
What's the other one?
Gladiator 2.
I have not watched that
so
trailer
excited.
either. I am not.
Let's talk about Formula 1. This movie's going to be the stupidest movie of all time. It starts with...
One thing?
Here's the first quote out of Brad Pitt's mouth. McLaren, Red Bull, Aston Martin, and Mercedes have us beat in the straights. I need a car that'll beat us in the corners. Or beat them in the corners. Lady working for Brad Pitt says, "How do I make that safe?" Brad Pitt goes, "You don't. We're making a car for war." Cut to Brad Pitt getting into a F1 car. It is the stupidest trailer of all time. And I'm like, anybody who's an actual fan of Formula 1 knows he's an idiot because A, it's easier for car manufacturers to make cars that go faster. Like, it's way cheaper to make a car that goes faster in a straight than it is to make it in a corner. B, I'm going to make a car for war in a motorsport is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
A motorsport where you're not really supposed to contact each other.
Yes.
What war?
Like, if it was NASCAR
Yeah.
and it was like Dale Earnhardt saying that, I'd be like, hell yeah, brother, number 3 for life. But then it's like,
grab my beer.
Oh, we're going to build a car for war, mate. It's like, shut the hell up. Let the big boys handle it.
It's like they took Niki Lauda from Rush.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's just water him down.
It just looks, it looks stupid. And then I also read that they didn't even film a lot of scenes themselves. They took the onboard cameras and just digitally put the cards in.
That's interesting.
So it's not even like, that way it's cool. But like for someone who's really into like, are you filming a camera onto a car?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just
I'm
dumb.
going to be watching the race and be like, hey, that was Monza 2017.
There are people who have done that. Then the Formula 1 Reddit. There are people who have done that already. Or they're like taking frames of the trailer and they're like, oh, this is Pierre Gasly at turn 1 of Spa. Or like, oh, this is Lewis Hamilton at turn 15 of Hungary or whatever.
Man, Roman Grosjean is about to get a fat check.
Yeah. It's been funny to look at.
As an aside, what a Reddit moment. What? Just like,
for
like,
that.
Yeah, we took it apart. Here's the exact turn and where in the VOD it is. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I think I could do that for a sport where I'm like, oh, I noticed that.
Oh, I mean, I could do that for a lot of things, but it's just like such a like only in like those like kind of internet communities where you can find people so terminally online where they can do that like that.
Also, something really funny happened in the press cycle when this trailer dropped. Because Brad Pitt, by the way, I don't know if you know this, he's getting investigated by the FBI for domestic abuse of Angelina Jolie and the kids. So as soon as the trailer dropped and everybody was like, hell yeah, Brad Pitt's back. Like within 24 hours and news, like an article dropped that like, oh yeah, Brad Pitt doesn't talk to us, or the kids don't talk to Brad Pitt. And like, this is what he actually did to them. And I'm like, oh shit. I was like, hell yeah, Angelina Jolie needs to pay her PR agent more.
We're going to have to get that Brad Pitt podcast out there at some point. I watched all those movies.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do it. Maybe we'll do it when this F1 movie drops. I mean, we're going to watch it just for content, but I'm not looking forward to it at all. And then Gladiator 2 came out.
I didn't see that trailer either.
I'm very excited.
Are you?
I'm a big fan of historical.
Who's directing it?
I think it's Ridley Scott again.
Really? I did not know that.
Let's look that up.
If you have internet, look it up.
Say, let me get my
Internet's still out, yeah.
Yeah, I've been sitting here staring
I've
at
been
it.
watching James click the button over and over and over. I didn't want to comment on it, but
Still no internet.
And then there was a trailer for
Thank you, Hurricane Barrel.
Nosferatu, directed by our boy Robert Eggers.
Dewey Morbin?
No.
Yeah, it is Ridley Scott.
Oh, nice.
And he did. I don't know if you probably know this, but in the first one, he wanted the naval warfare, because the Colosseum did that historically.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, I wanted to do that in the first one, couldn't afford it.
He's gonna do it now.
He's gonna do it now. There's a shot in the trailer where they're on boats.
Nice.
And also there's a rhino, which is also something he wanted to add in the first one.
That's hilarious.
There he's like, it's too expensive. So he put it in the second one.
I am substantially more excited for it now.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was really Scott at all.
Yeah.
I thought it was just gonna be one of those like, oh, he's producing it, but he doesn't have anything to do
I'm
with
excited because it's not so the way it's presented is the protagonist in this one is inspired by the events of the first one. The idea that a gladiator could basically overthrow Rome, right?
Mhm.
Like the social hierarchy of Rome. So he's like, I'm gonna do that too. And then Denzel was like, say man, come over here, let me talk to you for a minute. In the Denzel
it.
voice.
It is Denzel way.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm excited about it for. So I'm very hyped.
These are two movies that as soon as I heard about them, I knew I was going to watch them.
Yeah.
So I knew there was going to be a Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
So I purposely did not watch either trailer. I want to know nothing about these films going into it.
Except for the rhino.
Except for the rhino.
That's a big selling point.
It doesn't matter to me. Look, the selling point is
run
the
with the
fact
bit,
that
James.
Gladiator, the first one, is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Right.
That's the selling point for me.
This guy.
It's a good movie.
It's a very good movie.
I know. It's just like, it's a good bit. The rhino's a good bit. Like, come on.
I'm excited. So yeah, those are the 3 movies I'm excited for next year.
What was the third?
Nosferatu
Oh, no, it's right. Okay.
with Robert Eggers, who was a very
Yeah.
well,
You
very,
didn't talk about that one very much. You just
very,
threw it out
very
there.
good film. I've talked about him on this pod enough.
That's fair.
He's a very, very good, or maybe not enough.
We've only reviewed one of his films, yeah.
We've done 2. Oh, I talked about The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
I didn't like The Lighthouse, but I really did like The Northman. I'm excited. It looks more into like the real life, the storytelling of here's something that actually happened in real life, but I'm adding mythology to it and
Mhm.
expanding on that. Looks like what it's gonna happen with this one. So
Nice. I didn't see that trailer either, but yeah.
it should be a good time in 2025.
He's one of those directors where I feel like you're always going to get quality even if it doesn't really.
Is cinema
hit
back?
for it. Yeah. Is cinema back and is it just him?
It's been a long 2024.
It really has been.
I know. It's only halfway through the
Other
year,
than
right?
Dune
Yeah.
2, we haven't seen. That's why I was gonna pitch you guys a mid-year review, but
What is there to
hasn't
review?
been anything to talk about.
Yeah. Best movie we've seen so far this year came out in 1974.
yeah.
Well.
wait. Actually, I take that back.
Let's
I was like, wait, did I watch The Godfather Part 2 this year?
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, that was last year, James. This man's trying to push his agenda on us.
Anyways, any other quick hitters you guys want to talk about? Anything you're
I
down to
think
talk about?
I mean, we've talked about streaming services. We've beaten that horse.
Yeah. But anything like
I mean,
cool?
we love beating dead horses.
Shrek 5 is coming out.
All right, so let's wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So Shrek, the greatest script ever written.
All right, we're out of here. Bye.